Well, it's not going to be maintained at the same level. I think there's enormous concern about a number of substantive issues in the U.S.-China relations. But on top of that, as you suggest, Christine, there's campaign rhetoric, and Donald Trump by nature is pugnacious and uses very combative rhetoric in his remarks. So that part will fade, where he's talking about coronavirus and he's talking about Chinese taking jobs and so forth. I think some of that rhetorical element does fade, but the underlying issues, trade issues and geopolitical issues, remain even after. But still, that gives us a slight improvement when the election's over. I think China's being wise not to necessarily respond rhetorically, tit for tat, realizing the U.S. is in the middle of election season.
What do you make of this report, too, Ambassador, by the Wall Street Journal, that Beijing has actually come up with its own blacklist that could actually be used to punish U.S. tech companies operating in China? But so far, we're not hearing China use that list just yet. What actually does it mean for U.S. tech operating in China?
I think U.S. tech is going to have increasingly a harder slog in China. There's no doubt in my mind that China is not going to be 100% passive. They're looking at what's going on with TikTok and Huawei, especially with enormous disfavor, and I think they're going to want to take some steps they view as score settling. We in the U.S. might say that's inappropriate, but I don't think they're going to be passive about that. And I'll tell you this, if there's ever a European tech firm that can do what a U.S. tech firm can do, that European tech firm is likely to be marginally better off in some kind of China competition.
Frank, I'm interested for your thoughts on this TikTok deal, because many elements of the deal appear as though it could be made in China, if you know what I mean. I know you've been doing business in China for quite a long time, and the way in which the U.S. administration has played such a heavy hand in it, the way in which they're demanding a majority of U.S. ownership spread out through various companies. And I just keep wondering, I mean, if the purpose of Trump's trade tech war was to help and convince China to come closer to the U.S. side in the way they do business, are we almost seeing the opposite here?
Yeah, you're right. U.S. has traditionally tried to avoid the sort of managed trade or industrial policy or requiring localized ownership, and the U.S. has traditionally been much more open-minded on this, and that's been a real shift under Trump. Now, it's mainly a shift just vis-a-vis China. There's a lot of particular China sensitivities. I mean, I think if TikTok were a French firm or Canadian firm, we wouldn't see these kinds of sensitivities. But I think we're going to see more of this as we go on, that there's just enormous concern about tech in general and the role China firms might play in the U.S. and other markets. So I think you'll see pushback. And by the way, Trump is the most vocal on the set of issues, arguably, but I think it's a bipartisan sentiment. I think you have across the political spectrum, you have concerns about China's role in the tech sector globally.